It's Emil Soldier, and I'm back to talk about The Bad Batch, Season 3, Episodes 1, 2, and 3, and my thoughts on these episodes. Well, it's another year, another Star Wars series, and another disappointment. Unbelievable. Boring episodes, annoying storylines, too much focus on one character again, and they're so desperately trying to connect everything now to The Last Jedi. It's fucking, at this point, embarrassing because we all know The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie ever in history. Yet you're so desperate to connect it. You're so desperate to stick your middle finger up to the majority of Star Wars fans. You're going to keep trying to make this canon. It's never going to work. All this is ever going to achieve is going to piss off more Star Wars fans, and you're going to lose more and more money. But let's also talk about the fact that this season is the last season of The Bad Batch. Isn't that fucking funny? Now, some people are going to say, what do you mean, the last season? This is obviously all a part of the plan. You don't make seasons, you don't make shows that only last 3 to 4 seasons. You don't. You are supposed to at least get to 7 seasons. That's how you know a series is successful. It lasts beyond 4 to 5 seasons. And the fact that this is ending now, this is ending on its 3rd season, should be all the proof in the world that The Bad Batch was a failure. And to the idiots that are going to say that's not true, you idiots are the same ones who said Resistance wasn't a failure, and that lasted 2 seasons. This is obviously a failure. This is obviously not getting the views, the amount that it needs to stay, funded. And the fact that now Disney is having to tighten its belt because of all of their failures, come on now. Stop lying to yourselves. Stop trying to defend Disney Star Wars. It is a failure and it is hilarious to watch. But let's talk about what we're here to actually talk about. The 3 episodes, which again tells me all I need to know about how well Star Wars is doing. You don't come out with multiple episodes when a series is doing well. You just don't. But the first 3 episodes were boring. They were boring, they were annoying, they were way too focused on one fucking character, which has been the problem with this series since its beginning. Oh, fucking hell. It's just disappointing. This show could have been a success if they just concentrated on The Bad Batch, if they just concentrated on having, them work for the Empire. But no, we had to focus on one fucking character because this is Disney Star Wars. The first 3 episodes were boring. The first 3 episodes were annoying. And the first 3 episodes were way too connected to The Last Jedi. And they were. I don't get why we're dealing with this. I don't get what's the point of trying to keep pushing this onto fans. I don't. Because the majority have already told you they don't like it. And continuing down this path of just telling the fans to fuck off is never going to work. Overall, the first 3 episodes were just a disappointment. And if that is how we're just going to keep going forward with these shows now, we just keep pushing out boring episodes, and then your only defense of these shows are, well, you don't like it because there's a woman involved. It's the dumbest fucking excuse ever. This show could have been a success. This could have been a season that would have changed things. But unfortunately, it isn't. Because they've done exactly what I said they were going to do last time. I said they wouldn't have the balls to just concentrate on The Bad Batch. And they proved it with the 3rd fucking episode. And how that ended. Again, I've got nothing against the fucking character. I don't. I think it could have worked if they had just made it a 1-season thing. But they've decided to keep bashing you over the head with this character. and then are absolutely shocked and surprised when the majority of fans say, I don't like it. So, I mean, how can you continue to tell this story and still think we are going to accept it? We are not. But as for the rest of the Bad Batch, we barely see them. They're there for one episode, other than Crosshair, sorry. We see it for one episode and that's it. Again, the name of this show is just completely wrong. We all know what the name of this show should be called. Omega. That's what it should be called. Oh, God. And I'm just going to say this one thing about Tech. Tech is not dead. Okay? I truly believe we're going to see him turn up somewhere. And when that happens, I'm just going to laugh my ass off. Because I get the fact people are going to say, you know, come on, they wouldn't be that stupid. No. These people are that stupid. Death means nothing in Star Wars now. So I do believe we're going to see Tech. And let's talk about the Empire for a little bit of a second. I mean, I am still trying to figure out how they still have commandos on their side, and yet they're now hunting down what's left of the clone army. Which still, again, it still doesn't make sense. This entire storyline that they've tried to push with them just throwing away the clones, but then hunting them down and trying to do experiments on them, was a smart idea. You are creating a rebellion at that point. The original reason the clones got replaced was a better fucking story. This story about replacing the clones was shit. So what I give the 3 episodes out of 10? I'll probably give them 4, just because there were some okay bits. Seeing the Clone Commandos is still great. I love the uniforms. And, you know, Hemlock, he is a decent bad guy, I would say. But other than that, not really much. So, a 4 out of 10. Nothing really special happened. It tried to connect itself with The Last Jedi. We focused way too much on one character. The show, the series, will probably not get that many views and will probably just be nothing at the end of the day. It will probably just be thrown to the side like they do with so many fucking shows now when it comes to Star Wars. And what really pisses me off about this is that they will definitely try to make a live action Omega character. That is going to happen. And if they do that, what am I saying? When they do that, it'll just be another nail in Star Wars' coffin. So, 3 out of 10. Let's go to spoilers now. If you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So let's start off with the first episode. The first episode, we find out about Omega and her time at Hemlock's secret science base and how she has a life, a routine of working with her clone sister. We see how the clones they've captured are being experimented on, and we find out about the secret project. It's not a secret project. We all fucking know what that project is. It's the clones of Palpatine. You know, that stupid fucking storyline from Rise of Skywalker where they tried to explain away the fucking stupid reason the Emperor was in that movie, and the fact killing fucking Snoke in The Last Jedi was the dumbest fucking thing they could have done. But yes, that's the secret fucking project, people. It's clones. It's Palpatine's clones. That's all that was. We also find out Crosshair's on the base, and Omega and Crosshair talk to each other a couple of days a week. She tells Crosshair that she's going to find a way to she's going to find a way for them to both escape the science base. We also find out in the first episode how the base is defended. Apparently, the Empire don't just have clones and stormtroopers, they have these dogs, and Omega is put on a duty where she has to feed the dogs. One of the dogs is apparently not dealing well with being a guard dog and struggling, so Omega kind of treats this dog differently from the others. She feeds the dog from her own food, and when they find out that the dog is defective or injured, the Empire are going to kill the dog, but Omega stands up for it, kills the droid, and heals the dog up, and releases the dog into the wild. And Hemlock tells her that was a mistake, and that those dogs are not property, they are supposed to be weapons to defend the science base. We also see Nala Se, who is, a prisoner there as well, and how she is being told to find genetic links to the Emperor from the clones, so that when she can find a perfect match, they can drain that clone for all the blood and make a perfect clone for the Emperor. But Nala Se is trying very desperately not to let the Empire scan Omega's blood, because if they scan Omega's blood, they are going to find a match for the Emperor. I don't know how that's supposed to be, how that's supposed to be right or how that's supposed to happen, but apparently that's what, Nala Se is afraid of. So she keeps destroying Omega's blood samples so the Empire doesn't find that out. And so the episode ends with Omega in her cell with her doll that she's been hiding from the Empire. The Empire did find it, the clones did find it, but the female clone doctor, she gives Omega her doll back, and she just lies in bed hoping that Hunter and Wrecker will rescue her one day. And that's how the first episode ends. Again, a boring episode. We just focused way too much on Omega again. And that's been the biggest problem with the Bad Batch. Too much focus on Omega. But let's get to episode 2. So episode 2 is just Hunter and Wrecker. They're bounty hunters now, I think. They hunt down a bounty for this criminal organisation. Before they're introduced to the leader of this criminal organisation, she is dealing with somebody who tried to overthrow her as the leader of the criminal gang. The guy calls everybody around him a traitor and weak for not standing up to the leader, and she just deactivates the floor the guy's standing on, and he falls down a pit. And then Hunter and Wrecker bring in a Pike who has disgraced their family or something. And they've done this because apparently this criminal organisation has information about Hemlock's secret science facility or its location. So the Queen gives them the information for the Pike, and they take the information and head to the location that they have. When they get there, it turns out to be this jungle planet, and then when they get to the base, it turns out it's already been destroyed by an orbital bombardment. And then they bump into 2 cadets, clone troopers, who were being experimented on by Hemlock. But also in this jungle, there are vines that are science experiments from Hemlock's base. So the cadets take them back to their camp, but tell them not to touch the vines. But Wrecker does touch one, the vines attack them, they deal with it pretty easily, get back to the camp where they meet up with the other cadet, and they explain the situation, how they were going to be left behind or destroyed in the bombardment, the fact that the clone troopers that were assigned to guard them just abandoned them to their fate, and how they feel abandoned by the Republic and the Empire. Hunter asked them for help. One of them volunteers to help them get into the base to go to get information from one of the computers, and so they head off. They grab a gonk droid from their ship, head into the science base, and when they get in there, they're attacked by multiple creatures or science experiments. When they get in there, they get to the computer, they then get attacked by massive vine creatures, and turns out the two other cadets were going to try to steal their ship, but change their mind and head off to go help Hunter and Wrecker. In the base, whilst they're trying to escape the base, they get to a lake, they jump on some metal thing, and then surrounded by all these tentacle things from the massive creature, they bring in the shuttle, the cadets, hover above Hunter, Wrecker, and the other cadet. They release some cables so they can climb onto the ship, and then the creature tries to grab the ship, but Hunter and Wrecker tell them to grab all the explosives on the ship, throw it into the mouth of the creature. They do that. They then release one last grenade into the mouth. It blows up, kills the creature, and they escape. And when they're heading off, Hunter finds out from the information they got from the computer the location, or at least the sector, the secret base could be in, and Hunter promises the three cadets to take them back to that planet with all the people. Sorry, the Caribbean planet with all the free people, and they're going to take them there and they'll be safe there. One of the cadets is kind of like, but we want to be soldiers, and Hunter says you've got to be something other than soldiers, and that's how the episode ends with them, grabbing each other's hands and all that shit. And that's how the second episode ends. It was a pretty boring episode. They went on the planet for a little bit and found some information for the location of Omega. And again, it's just a boring episode. That they didn't really do much. So, it's just boring. So the last episode, the third episode, is the Emperor episode. So the episode begins with Omega doing her usual stuff, walking around the base. The base has more troopers around. It seems like they're getting ready for a special guest, which is the Emperor. The Emperor arrives, he gets there, and we are then introduced to the secret area where we see the Emperor's clones, because that's what they are, and how the Emperor is going to give everything that Hemlock wants and needs, and this is top priority to ensure the future of the Empire. Whilst the Emperor's there, Nala Se tells Omega to escape the base, because if she doesn't escape now, she cannot protect Omega from the Empire, because they're going to figure out that Omega's DNA is what they need for the Emperor's clones. So Nala Se tells Omega to grab her tech pad and try to escape the base on a shuttle or something. So Omega grabs the pad, heads off to grab Crosshair. How they escape? Well, Crosshair distracts the guards by telling them to open the door. The stormtroopers are kind of taking the piss with Crosshair, but Omega opens the door. Crosshair knocks out both the stormtroopers, grabs their rifles, gives the rifle to Omega. They go through the base, try to find out how or where a shuttle is, but it turns out most of the shuttles are on lockdown, except for the Emperor's shuttle, but it would be too well guarded for them to grab. So Omega remembers the situation for the first episode where a shuttle crashed outside in the jungle, so they head off to that shuttle to see if they can send a message to Hunter and Wrecker to come get them or come rescue them. So that's the plan. They head off into the jungle, get attacked by a bear. They get chased by a couple of dogs. Hemlock tries to figure out how Omega escaped the base, blames Nala Se, and pretty much arrests or throws Nala Se in a cell. Crosshair and Omega find the shuttle, but the shuttle's too damaged for them to send a signal. Shuttle is then sent that has stormtroopers and a clone commando on it. There's a big firefight. Crosshair knocks out a couple of them and the clone commando. Omega then jumps on the shuttle, knocks out the pilot, takes over the ship, shoots at the stormtroopers, and Crosshair manages to get on the shuttle, takes full control of it. They jump onto it and head off, and are then chased by a couple of V-Wings. Whilst they're trying to escape, it looks like they're not going to be able to escape because there's too many fighters, and the cannons hit a part of the ship, damaging it severely. But the clone Doctor Woman comes in, tells Hemlock that Omega is too valuable for them to kill, so Hemlock orders the V-Wings to cease pursuit and lets them escape. And that's how Omega escapes the base, by stealing a fucking shuttle and being allowed to escape. That's how it happens. And the episode ends with Hemlock promising to use every force in the Empire to find and capture Omega, because they find out Omega's blood is a exact match for the Emperor's clones. And that's how the third episode ends. I know I've gone pretty quick with the, full breakdown of the episodes, but there really wasn't much that was happening. And all 3 episodes were just boring. And they are definitely connecting this with the sequels, which is just going to bring this series down. These 3 episodes were crap. I don't think anything different's going to happen. I am kind of getting sick and tired of, them connecting stuff to the sequels, because it's just never going to work. And if you do that, you're just reminding us of how bad the sequels were. So, it's disappointing. I had so much hope for this series when it started, and now we're on the last season, and I'm just glad that it's coming to an end. And that's the end of my review. If you like this review, give it a like. If you dislike this review, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. And if you have a comment, leave it below and I'll try to get back to it. Entertainment World Soldier. Bye.